Hydrocarbon is the compound which contain carbon and hydrogen. We call hydrocarbon. They can be divided into three main categories: alkane, alkene, or alkyne. But because in O levels you are only taking the two of them, one is alkane. If they have a single bond, we call alkane, and if they have a double bond, we call them as alkane. And the starting of the name depends on the number of the carbon atom. If we have one carbon atom, we call meth, two we call ath, three prop, four we call but, five pen, six hex, seven is called hept, and eight is called oct. This is how we name a hydrocarbon. We already discussed in the last session. Now there are two other types of a compound, but they are not hydrocarbon. One is called alcohol. Another one is called carboxylic acid. These are not hydrocarbon because they contain other elements such as oxygen. So they are not hydrocarbon, but you have to learn how to name these compounds as well. The term alcohol means if a compound contain OH. If there is a OH present with a carbon, if OH is attached with a carbon, we call these compounds are classified as alcohol. But if there is a group like C double bonded with O and OH is there. If C double bonded with O and OH is attached, we call that as carboxylic acid. If only OH is attached with a carbon, we call them as alcohol. And here in carboxylic acid, C double bonded with O and OH group is attached, we call them as carboxylic acid. How to name them? It's the same way we used to name. Only a small modification is there. If it's an alcohol, if the compound is an alcohol, the name should end at OL, like this, OL. If a compound is carboxylic acid, the name should end at oic acid, oic acid. So how to name them? Like example, we draw C, and then OH is attached. Then we have to complete a structure. How to complete a structure? On the remaining will be hydrogen. So this carbon, how many hydrogen it will have? The carbon on the left hand side. How many hydrogen this should have? 3. So 1, 2, 3. How many hydrogen the second carbon should have? Because carbon can maximum form 4 bonds. So 1, 2. Now we have to name this. So how to name? The same manner we name, like example 2 carbon. So for 2 carbon atoms, it's better you learn this table, which is very important, that if we have 2 carbon atoms, if 2 carbon atoms, we'll use the term eth. So I will say it is eth because of 2 carbon atoms. What kind of bond is there between the carbon atom? Not with other anything. What kind of bond is there between the carbon atom? Single, double, or triple? So they have a single bond here. So if there is a single bond, we will use the term an. We'll not write complete ane because alcohol is there. So that's why we just simply write an. And due to the presence of this group, due to the presence of OH, it should end at OL. So it will become eth all. Eth because of 2 carbon, N because they have a single bond, and because due to the presence of OH, it will be all. So eth and all, or ethanol we also say. Is it clear this example? How we name this alcohol? First we name the carbon atoms, then we name according to the bond because it's a single between the carbon atoms, so N, and due to this OH we call that as all. So it becomes ethanol, or we also say ethanol. Another example for carboxylic, so they have this group C double bonded with O, and OH group is already there. And example, 3 more carbon atoms, 2 more carbon atoms along with this. Now we have to complete a structure first. The left hand carbon, how many hydrogen it should have? The left hand side, how many hydrogen it should have? 3. So 1, 2, 3. The central one, how many hydrogen it should have? 2. So 1, 2. Now we have to name. How to name? First we have to count the number of carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3 carbon atoms. So if you find 3 carbon atoms, you have to check for 3 what is the prefix used. For 3 carbon atoms we use the prefix prop. So it should be prop. So we write P-R-O-P, prop. Then we check the bond between the carbon atoms. So between there is a double bond, but that is carbon with oxygen. But between the carbon atom there is a single bond. So if there is a single bond, it will be N. It should be ANE, but if it is not a carboxylic, then we write full ANE. But because the carboxylic group is there, so we just write AN. So prop N. And due to the presence of this group, C double bonded with O and OH, this group is called carboxylic group, and the name should be oic acid. So it will become prop N oic acid. Prop because of 3 carbon, N because they have a single bond between them, and oic acid as they have C double bonded with O and OH. Is it clear this example, how we name this compound? The carboxylic group. So whenever C double bonded with O and OH, this group is there. What is the name? The name should end at oic acid. That's why we write oic acid. If there is only OH attached, as you can see here, this is OH is attached, then the name should be OL, all. So depending on what is attached, if it is C double bonded with O and OH, the name will be oic acid. If it is C double bonded, C and OH is there, it will be all, alcohol. So if we have alcohol, and we can have carboxylic group as well. If it's an alcohol, the name should end at OL, and the group which is attached, that should be OH. If it's a carboxylic, the name should end at oic acid, and the group which is attached is C double bonded with O and OH. That's a group which is attached with a chain of the carbon. So if we name 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there is a OH group. Now we have to complete the structure because this is having one bond, so this will have three hydrogen. This will have two bonds, so this will have two hydrogen. Two bonds, so two hydrogen. Two bonds, so two hydrogen. This is the structure. Now we have to name. How to name? Four carbon atoms are there, so you have to again check for four carbon atom what we call. If a compound contains four carbon atom, we call that as bute. So for four carbon atom, it will be bute. Then we check the bond between the carbon atom because they have a single bond. So we say N. And because the functional group, the group which is attached is OH. When OH is attached, the name should have be OL. So it will become butane all. Bute because of four carbon, and because of a single bond, and all due to this OH. Whereas if we have four carbon atoms, or say uh, two carbon atoms, so C double bonded with O and OH is there, and next to that is only one carbon. So this will have three hydrogen atoms. 1, 2, 3. So if we want to name this, we have to count first the number of the carbon. There are two carbon atoms. So when you check for two carbon atom, what we use the term eth. So here in this table, for two carbon atoms, what we use eth. So we should use eth as there are two carbon atoms. They have a single bond between them, so it will be N. And because of this C double bonded with O and OH, it will become oic acid. So oic acid. So it become ethanoic acid. Eth means two carbon, N means they have a single bond, and oic acid representing that the group which is attached is C double bonded with O and OH. Is it clear, this example? So if we summarize what we have discussed related to the structures, as you can see, this whole table is there. If there is a single bond, the name should end at ANE. How to name? The first one carbon, that's why it is meth. METH. And because there is a single bond, so it is N. So it will become methane, or methane we can also say. The second one, two carbon atoms are there. When two carbon atoms, it should be eth. And they have a single bond between them, so it will be ane. So it is ethane. Three carbon atoms, so it will be prop. Again, they have a single bond, so it will be ane. Four carbon atoms, bute. Single bond between them, ane. So it is butane. Now, when we check the second one, two carbon atoms. So if two carbon atoms are there, so due to the presence of two carbon, it is eth. Because there is a double bond, so it is ene. So it is called ethene. Three carbon atoms, 1, 2, 3. So because of the three, we use the term prefix prop. And they have a double bond with the first carbon. Look, where we count, like example, we can count from left, we can count from right. So if I count from left 1, 2 and 3, second one is having a double bond. If I count from right 1, 2 and 3, first one is having a double bond. So we always count from the side where double bond is closer. That's why we are counting from the right hand side, not from the left hand side. So we always count the carbon from the nearest double bond. So it is prop, and because there is a double bond, so it is in, so we can say it is prop in. Bute, 4 carbon atoms are there, bute, 1, 2, 3, 4, bute, and there's a double bond with the first and second carbon. So we write 1-ene, or you can also write butene. That does not make difference. Butene or but1-ene is the same thing. Then the other compounds contain OH as a functional group, as a group attached other than hydrogen. So OH is there, OH is there, OH is there, and OH. So how to name this type of compound? First we count the number of the carbon atoms. There is only one carbon atom, so it is meth. Then they have a single bond between them, so it will be N, methane. And because of the OH, what we call that as all, so it will become methanol or butanol. Same way, the two carbon atoms, so it is eth. Because of the two carbon atom, they have a single bond between them, it's by N, and due to the functional group, due to the group, it will become all. So it is ethanol. Three carbon atoms we call prop, single bond between them we call N, and due to the presence of OH, it become all. So it is propanol. Four carbon atoms, but, single bond between them and due to the presence of OH, it is all. So it is butan all. And the last one, like if C double bonded with O and OH group is there, as you can see, all of them, what they have, C double bonded with O and OH. Here also, C double bonded with O and OH. So if C double bonded with O and OH group is there, then it is called a carboxylic. So how to name carboxylic? We count the carbon atom. This is having one carbon. So one carbon, it should be meth, because there is only one carbon. Single bond between, they like we check between the two carbon atoms or carbon and hydrogen, there is a single bond. Not with carbon with oxygen, even though there is a double bond, but we don't consider that. So it is meth due to single bond, and they have a single, and because they have a single bond, and due to the carboxylic group, that is oic acid. So methanoic acid. Same way, if we have two carbon atoms, we have the two carbon atoms we call eth, single bond between them, so we call N, and due to the functional group, it will become oic acid, so ethanoic acid. So C double bonded with O and OH will make it acid. And prop, because of three carbon atoms, it is prop, single bond between them, and due to the presence of OH, C double bonded with O and OH, it will become acid. So it will become propanoic acid. Then butanoic acid, but means 4 carbon. between them single bond and due to the functional group it will be oic acid. So butanoic acid due to C double bonded with O and OH. That's how we name the first two. Alkane and alkene are the hydrocarbon, but alcohol and carboxylic acid, these are not the hydrocarbons. So it is important that you learn the name of these compounds, and you should be able to either draw the structure or name the compound from their structures. Is it clear that how we name these hydrocarbon, alcohols and carboxylic acid? Any doubt till this point?